ॐ शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யஹம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாபிப சம்பிருக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே ஜகதः பிதரோ வந்தே பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வரौ. ஸ்ரீ பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வராभ्यां நமः. कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि आर्तान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरधाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलात् रोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞാനെ കുമ്പീരേണ്ടാത്തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It feels like a long break when we miss even one weekend, but okay. So we'll do a quick review of 32. So Vijay, you want to do 32?
Yeah. Good morning, Rajeshi.
Good morning.
Dasakam 32, Matsyavadara Varnanam. Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Sashtandarot Yatakanta Kalpe Nitronmuga Brahma Mukatradekshu Vedeshvadistah Kilamatsya Rupam सत्यव्रतस्य त्रमिलादिपर्तुः न ते जले तर्पयदस्तदानीं कराञ्जलौ संज्वलिता कृतिस्त्वम् अदृश्यदाः कच्चन पालमीनः क्षिप्तं जले त्वां सकितं विलोक्य निन्येम्बुपात्रेण स्वकेहं स्वल्भैरहो विक्कलचीञ्चकूपं वापीं सरच्चानसिषे विभूत्वं योगप्रभावात् पवदाञ्जनैव नीतस्ततस्त्वं मुनिना भयूतिं पृष्टो मुना कल्पदितितृक्षुमेनं सप्ताहम् आस्वेति वदन्न यासिः.
Shviji, in the first line, Bhavada Agnyayaiva.
भवदाज्ञयैव. Okay.
Yaiva. Bhavadagnayaiva.
भवदाज्ञयैव. Okay.
Yeah.
प्राप्ते त्वदुक्ते हनिवारितारा परिप्लुते भूमितले मुनीन्द्रः सप्तर्षिभिः सार्धमपारवारिणि उत्कूर्णमानचरणं ययौ त्वाम्.
And the first line after Twadukte Hani, there is a pause, okay? Prapte Twadukte Hani.
Okay.
Okay.
तरां त्वदाते सकरीमवाप्तां नौरूपिणीम् आरुरुहुस्तताते तत्कम्बकम्ब्रेक्षु सदेषु युभूयः त्वमम् अम्पुतेराविरपुर्महीयान् जशाकृतिं योजनलक्षदीर्घां तदा नमुच्चैस्तरतेजसं त्वां निरीक्ष्य दुष्टा मुनयस्त्वदुक्त्या त्वदुङ्कशृङ्गे तरणिं पबन्तुः आकृष्टनौको मुनिमण्डलाय प्रदर्शयन् विश्वजगद्विभागान् संस्तूयमानो नृवरेण तेन ज्ञानं परं चोपदिचन्नचारिः
Charihi. Long E. Charihi.
चारिः कल्पावधौ सप्तमुनीन् पुरोवत् प्रस्थाप्य सत्यव्रतभूमिपं तं वैवस्यताज्ञं मनुमाततानः क्रोधात् हयग्रीवम् अपि तृप्तोऽभुः स्वतुङ्कशृङ्गक्षदवक्षसं तं निपात्य तैतं निकमान् गृहीत्वा विरिञ्चये प्रीतहृदे तदानः प्रपञ्चनाकारपते प्रपायाः.
Krishnaya
कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः.
Yeah, right, very good. Okay, we'll continue with 33. So 33, we had stopped at 5, stanza 5, so we'll kind of start at 6. Okay, so maybe first half today, Maithili Garu, you, and then Malini, you can be student first half. Stanza 6. Krityam chatamasi dharam bhuvanam dahantim agre bibhiksha nripatir napada chakampe twadbhakta badam abhiviksha sudarshanam te krityanalam shalabhayan muniman vadhavit. So just a recap, right, of where we left. So we saw in the 32nd Dasakam, we saw beginning of Vaivaswata Manu, right? And then we saw in the 33rd, Vaivaswatakya Putra, Manu Putra Nabhaga, his son Nabhaga, and then his son Ambarisha. And this Ambarisha, even though he was ruling over all the 7 worlds, over everything, he was completely devoted to the Lord, and he was very steady in his mind. He did not want anything. And because he was such a staunch devotee, the Lord actually had given him Sudarshana Chakram without Ambarisha even knowing about it. See, that is the biggest difference, right? Ambarisha himself didn't know that he had this capability. So once when he and his wife were following the Ekadashi Vratam for 1 year, and on the last month when they were following the Ekadashi, when it was following it, the Dwadashi Parana day was there. Durvasa along with his followers come there. And then, when Ambarisha isn't waiting for Durvasa takes a break, but the break ends up going so long that he was going to miss that Parana time. So when he was in that dilemma, he then ends up taking some Tulasi water. So, but moment he finishes taking it, Durvasa ends up coming, and because Durvasa can see what has happened, Durvasa is angry that Ambarisha actually broke the fast without waiting for Durvasa to come. So at that point, he then took some of his matted hair, and from there, a Kritya starts comes out. That's where we left last time, right? So this Kritya, anytime we talk about this Kritya, and this is going to come in several other things also. It also come in the Poundraka Vasudeva episode we see. So this all this Kritya is something, you think of it as like an evil spirit which goes and it is like, it's very fiery, it's very scary, and it goes and blazes, it just burns everything that is on its path, right? That is the general nature of the Kritya. And if it is not able to attack or target the person it is going towards, it'll come back and target the owner or the creator itself. So it's very, very targeted. It doesn't burn, it burns things on the way, but it doesn't harm anybody else, specifically targeted towards one person, right? So this Kritya, when it now starts coming and running towards Ambarisha. Now, the true test of a devotee is when there is something like that coming towards you. Do you run, or do you fight, or do you stop and not do anything? Right? Very natural. I'm afraid of dogs, right? So the moment a dog starts running towards me, I start moving away, right? Not that the dog is going to do anything, especially in the US, the dogs are well trained, right? But still, I don't have that much faith that, that God will come and protect me. Or if a snake comes in front of you, people who are afraid of it, we all tend to run away, right? That's the difference between us and Ambarisha. Ambarisha, this Kritya is running towards him. He's like, I'm a devotee of the Lord. If this Kritya needs to burn me, it's going to burn me. The God, Bhagavan is going to protect me, he's going to protect me. I'm not going to move, right? So he just puts his faith in Bhagavan and he stands, right? He doesn't move. And when this Kritya now starts approaching, automatically without Ambarisha knowing, the Sudarshana Chakra comes to protect him, right? Because he didn't even know. If you know you have Sudarshana Chakra protection, then you can confidently stand, right? But if you don't know you have that protection, then you tend to run away. But he just stood his ground. The Sudarshana Chakra comes and then it burns this Kritya to ground, and it now starts chasing Durvasa Muni. So Sudarshana Chakra goes after Durvasa. Now Durvasa starts running, right, at this point. So Krityam cha tam asidharam bhuvanam dahantim, put a im at the end of that line and a comma. Next line, the ma becomes a. Agre vikshya nripatir na padacha kampe tvat bhakta badam abhivikshya sudarshanam te, comma, krityanalam shalabhayan munim anvadhavit. कृत्यां च तामसिधरां भुवनं दहन्तीम् अग्रेऽभिवीक्ष्य नृपतिर्न पदाच्च कम्पे त्वद्भक्तपादमभिमीक्ष्य सुदर्शनं ते कृत्यानलं शलभयन्मुनिमन्वधावीत्.
कृत्यां च तामसि धरां भुवनं दहन्तीम् अग्रे विवीक्ष्य नृपतिर्न पदाच्च कम्पे त्वद्भक्तबाधमभिवीक्ष्य सुदर्शनं ते कृत्यानलं शलभयन् मुनिमन्वधावीन्. दावीत् कृत्या च तामसि धरां भुवनं दहन्तीम् अग्रे विवीक्ष्य नृपतिर्न पदाच्च कम्पे त्वद्भक्तपादमभिवीक्ष्य सुदर्शनं ते कृत्यानलं शलभयन् मुनिमन्वधावीत्.
कृत्यां च दाम् असितरां भुवनं दहन्तीम् अग्रे विवीक्ष्य नृपतिर्नपदाच्च कम्पे त्वद्भक्तपादमभिवीक्ष्य सुदर्शनं ते कृत्यानलं शलभयन् मुनिम् अन्वधावीत्. कृत्यां च दाम् असिधरां भुवनं दहन्तीम् अग्रे विवीक्ष्य नृपतिर्नपदाच्च कम्पे त्वद्भक्तपादमभिवीक्ष्य सुदर्शनं ते कृत्यानलं शलभयन् मुनि अन्वधावीत्.
Chapter 7. धावन्न शेषभुवनेषु भियास पश्यन् विश्वत्र चक्रमपि ते गतवान् विरिञ्चम् कः कालचक्रमतिलङ्घयतीत्यपास्तः सर्वं ययौ स च भवन्तम् अवन्दतैव. So Durvasa now starts running everywhere, like in all directions, right? So he runs on the surface of the earth, he runs in the sky, he's flying. No matter where he goes, the Sudarshan Chakra keeps following him, right? And he's beginning to feel the heat of the Sudarshan Chakra, which is following him, but nothing is happening. He still continues to run. He doesn't stop. So first, he actually goes to Brahma himself. He goes to Satyaloka to Brahma. And then he goes and says, Brahma, like I'm being chased by the Sudarshan Chakra. You have to give me protection. So Brahma says, I myself have a finite life. At the end of the Dvipararda, even I have to go, right? So he says, I don't have the power to be able to combat this. So I cannot help you, right? I'm surrendering myself to the Supreme Lord Narayana, so I can't do anything about here. So next to that's why Virincha is referring to Brahma. So next he goes to Sharva. Sharva is referring to Shiva. So he goes to Kailasha and then he goes to Shiva and prays the same thing. Please protect me from the Sudarshana Chakra. Even Shiva says, I cannot protect against this weapon. You have to go to the owner of this weapon. So Narayana himself, you have to go straight up to Narayana to see if he can protect you from the Sudarshana Chakra. So Dhavanna Shesha Bhuvaneshu Bhiya Sa Pashyan, put a plus, Vishwatra Chakramapi Te Gatavan Virincham. Those two lines together. Kaha is there, put a ich sound. Kah, Kala, Chakramati, Langhaya, Titya, Pastaha, comma, Sharvam, Yayau, Sacha, Bhavantam, Avandataiva. You can break it that ma. Bhavantam, Avandataiva.
Lankamayava, Lankyava.
Langhaya.
Langhaya, okay.
Rajeshri, can you explain that Prahararda?
Which one, sorry?
Prahararda not in the thing, but
Dvipararda. So remember that Brahma age is 100 years, right? So
yes.
one Pararda is 50 years of Brahma. So Dvipararda means 2 times 50, 100 years of Brahma.
Okay.
So that's why in your Sankalpam you say, why in the Dviparardhe, you say in the second 50 years of Brahma, right? So that I was just loosely referring to saying Brahma is saying I have only 100 years, right? So he's saying even I'm bound by the 2 Parardas, right? That just means 50 years.
Thank you.
1 Pararda. धावन्न शेषभुवनेषु भियास पश्यन् विश्वत्र चक्रमपि ते गतवान् विरिञ्चम् कः कालचक्रमतिलङ्घयतीत्यपास्तः सर्वं ययौ स च भवन्तम् अवन्दतैव.
दावन्नशेष भुवनेषु बियास पश्यन् विश्वत्र चक्रमपि ते गतवान् विरिञ्चम् कः कालचक्रमिति लङ्घयतीत्यपास्तः सर्वं ययौ स च भवन्तमवन्दतैव. दावन्नशेष भुवनेषु बियास पश्यन् विश्वत्र चक्रमपि ते गतवान् विरिञ्चम् कः कालचक्रमतिलङ्घयतीत्यपास्तः सर्वं ययौ स च भवन्तमवन्दतैव.
Rajeshji, a quick question, sir. In the third line, Kakhala Chakramati Lankya and then Ditya Pastaha, or you want it to be Lanka Yaditya Pastaha?
Langhaya, it's gha sound has to come. Langhaya,
Lankaya. Okay, so it's not
Langhaya.
Lankya. It's not Lankya, it is Lankaya.
Yeah, Langhaya.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, you can't even break it because it's langhayati apastaha. So that word is a little bit complicated. So there's no place where you can break it and pause. So kakala chakramati langhayati tyapastaha. So ideally you say the whole word together without any pause in between.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
दावन्नशेष भुवनेषु पियास पश्यन् विश्वत्र चक्रमपि ते गतवान् विरिञ्चम् कः कालचक्रमतिलङ्घयतीत्यपास्तः सर्वं ययौ स सर्वं ययौ स भवन्तमवन्तदैव तावन्नशेष भुवनेषु पियास पश्यन् विश्वत्र चक्रमपि ते कदवान् विरिञ्चं कः कालचक्रमधिलङ्कयतीत्यपास्तः सर्वं ययौ स भवन्तमवन्तदैव.
Malani, and the last line, yayau sa cha sound.
ययौ सर्वं ययौ स च
Stanza 8. भूयो भवन्निलयमेत्य मुनिं नमन्तं प्रोचे भवानहमृषेण नु भक्तदासः ज्ञानं तपश्च विनयान्वितमेव मान्यं याह्यम्बरीशपदमेव भजेति भूमन्. So now, because even Lord Shiva at Kailash also could not help Ambarisha, he then goes to Vaikuntham. Like again, this is the Vaikuntham, like we said, the Karana Khadya Vaikuntham, which resides within the Brahmandam. So there he goes to Narayana and then he says, you know what, I think I made a big blunder. You know, I went after this person, Ambarisha. I didn't know the amount of power he had. I let this Kritya out on him because of my own anger, because of me not able to control myself. And now I've been running all through this entire universe, and this Sudarshan Chakra keeps chasing me. So at this time, now one thing that Narayana is going to, the comment he makes here is something you're going to see all through Krishna Avataram also. The same comment is going to happen, which is he says, you know, I myself cannot reside on my own. Narayana is saying, I cannot be there just by myself without my devotees being there, right? He says, so he says, I am there only because of my devotees, to the extent that I'm not independent of my devotees. So do not think of me as someone who's independent of my devotees, right? And says, especially those who have no material desires, who have given control of, they've lost, they don't have any of those material afflictions, and they're all completely devoted to me. Nanu bhakta dhasaha. I'm a servant. I'm a servant of my devotees. Right? So it's not like the devotees are, no, I am the boss of my devotees. So people who are truly devoted to me, I am their dasa. Right? So he says, even if you do not worship me, you go worship the truest of my devotees. The person who is the truest of the devotee, right? Not we pray for 1 hour a day. No, truest, all times. They're thinking about the Lord all the time. So he says, I'm a servant of that person, right? And says, I cannot exist independent of that particular person. You know, because they have completely given up everything and they only think of me, right? It says such devotees, I never let them down, right? And you have classic examples, right? Even Prahlada, right? Prahlada was one of those truest devotees because Prahlada does not go and ask for anything. He's always is praying to God. He's always relying that Bhagavan is there, and whether Bhagavan gives me something or not, even though he goes through all those harsh things, he doesn't go and complain saying, why am I going through all these problems? You know, I'm always thinking about you, but you keep giving me all these problems. Prahlada doesn't say that, right? Similarly, Ambarisha doesn't say, you know, that I'm praying and doing all this. Why did you send a Kritya after me, O Narayana? He doesn't blame that, right? So it's the truest of devotees, and we'll see a lot of examples. We'll see examples of Kuchelo Pakyanam that's going to come later. A lot of other devotees where he says, Anu Bhakta Dasa. He says, I cannot do anything. He says, Ambarisha has more power than me, Narayana says. So you have to, even I cannot stop Sudarshana Chakra. You have to go back to Ambarisha, and he has the power to stop the Sudarshana Chakra. Right? So even I can't do anything. See, with that, even Narayana sends him back, saying, Yah Ambarisha Padameva Bhajeti. He says, you go fall on the feet of Ambarisha and then, you know, seek his blessings. And if he is willing to take the Sudarshana Chakra, then you will be completely freed from that. So, Bhuyo Bhavan Nilayametya Munim Namantam, comma, Proche Bhavana Hamrishe Nanu Bhakta Dasaha Jnanam Tapascha Vinayanvitam eva, one word, Vinayanvitam eva manyam Yahyambarisha. It's a ha sound there. Yahyambarisha padameva bhajeti bhuman. So he says, whatever jnanam you have, whatever knowledge you have, whatever tapas you do, whatever austerities you perform, he says, unless you have humility, he says, none of that is of any value. He's telling Ambarish, he's telling Durvasa, you could have done a lot of tapas, you've done a lot of austerities, but if you do not have control over yourself and you're not humble, he says that goes away. that power is gone, right? So knowledge and tapas, jnana, tapas that you have should always have a lot of humility, because otherwise that is of no value. भूयो भवन्निलयमेत्य मुनिं नमन्तं प्रोचे भवानहमृषे ननु भक्तदासः ज्ञानं तपश्च विनयान्वितमेव मान्यं याह्यम्बरीश पदमेव भजेति भूमन्.
भूयो भवन्न निलयमेत्य मुनिं नमन्तं प्रोचे भवान् हमृच्छे ननु भक्तदासः ज्ञानं तपश्च विनयान्वितमेव मान्यं याह्यम्बरीश पदमेव भजेति भूमन्. भूयो भवन्निलयमेत्य मुनिं नमन्तं प्रोचे भवानहमृषे ननु भक्तदासः ज्ञानं तपश्च विनयान्वितमेव मान्यं याह्योम्बरीश पदमेव भजेति भूमन्.
Last line, याह्यम्बरीश.
याह्यम्बरीश पदमेव भजेति भूमन्.
भूयो भवन्निलयमेत्य मुनिं नमन्तं ब्रोचे भवानहमृषे ननु भक्तदासः ज्ञानं तपश्च विनयान्वितमेव मान्यं याह्यम्बरीश पदमेव भजेति भूमन्. भूयो भवन्निलयमेत्य मुनिं नमन्तं ब्रोचे भवानहमृषे ननु भक्तदासः ज्ञानं तपश्च विनयान्वितमेव मान्यं याह्यम्बरीश पदमेव भजेति भूमन्.
And again, याह्यम्बरीश.
याह्यम्बरीश.
Yeah. Stanza 9. तावत् समेत्य मुनिना स गृहीतपादो राजापसृत्य भवदस्त्रमसावनौषीत् चक्रे गते मुनिरदादखिलाशिषोऽस्मै त्वद्भक्तिमागसि कृतेऽपि कृपां च शंसन्. So finally Durvasa comes running back to Ambarisha himself, and then Padamev, he comes Grihita Padav, he goes and grabs his feet, falls on his feet and says, Ambarisha, I made a huge mistake. You know, I must not have gotten so angry at you. Not only getting angry at you, I sent you this Kritya after you. He says, it's completely my mistake. Please forgive me. And he says, I went everywhere, all the way to Narayana, and they said, I have to come back to you. So Ambarisha actually felt very awkward because he was feeling embarrassed that some great personality like Durvasa Muni is falling on my feet, right? So he says, please, you know, I have absolutely no problems with you. So even though you led the Kritya after me, he says, I am not offended by you. Right, so I am not unhappy with you or anything. So he then prays to Sudarshana Chakra to then go off, and Sudarshana Chakra then goes back, right? Doesn't do any harm to Ambarisha, to Durvasa. So Durvasa then gets very happy, and then he blesses Ambarisha, saying, what do you want? And that's another characteristics of the devotee of the Lord. When somebody asks, what do you want? You say, I only want more devotion towards the Lord. Right? That is our second characteristic, which is what Ambarisha again portrays. He says, I want nothing. Tvad bhaktima agas. He says, I only want more devotion towards the Lord. So please bless me that the devotion doesn't go down, right? So tavat sametya munina sa grihita pado, comma, rajapasritya. So the next word you can break it into three parts. Bhavat astram asavanaushit, if you want to. Bhavat astram asavanaushit. Chakre gate muniradat akhilashi, if that may be easier to say. Muniradat, the second da that is coming, you put a it and a a. So muniradat akhilashi shosmai, comma, tvat bhaktim agasi kritepi kripam cha shamsan. Tavat sametya munina sagrihita pado rajapasatya bhavadastramasa chakre gate munidadadakilashisosmai tvat bhaktimagasi kritepi kripam cha shamsan.
तावत् समेत्य मुनिना स गृहीतपादो राजापसृत्य भवदस्त्रमसावनौपीत चक्रे गते मुनिरदात् अखिलाशिषोऽस्मै त्वद्भक्तिमागसि कृतेऽपि कृपां च शंसन्. तावत् समेत्य मुनिना स गृहीतपादो राजापसृत्य भवदस्त्रमसावनौपीत् चक्रे गते मुनिरदात् अखिलाशिषो स्मै त्वद्भक्तिमागसि कृतेऽपि कृपां च संसन्
तावत् समेत्य मुनिना स गृहीतपादो राजापसृत्य भवत् भवत्
Bhavat Astram.
भवतस्त्र असावनौषीत् चक्रे गदे मुनिरदात् अखिलाशिचोस्मै त्वद्भक्तिमागसि कृतेऽपि कृपां च शश्मन्
Shamsan, last word, Shamsan.
शंसन् दावत् समेत्य मुनिना स गृहीतपादो राजापसृत्य भवतस्त्रम् असावनौषीत् चक्रे गदे मुनिरदात् अखिलाशिषोस्मै त्वद्भक्तिमागसि कृतेऽपि कृपां च शंसन्
Uncertain. Raja pratīkṣya munimekasamamanāśvān sambhojya sadhu tam rishim visrujan prasannam bhuktva swayam tvayi tatopi dridham rato bhūt sayujyamapachasamam pavaneshapayaः. So this brief period where Durvasa went over to all these places and came back, because Durvasa can go very in an instant. 1 year had passed in earthly years. And for that 1 year, Ambarisha and his wife were waiting for Durvasa. So they did not eat for 1 year and they were waiting for Durvasa to come, right? Because he didn't want to eat before Durvasa was served food, because Durvasa was the guest. So finally, when Durvasa came back, then Ambarisha and his wife served Durvasa the meal, and then they broke their Dwadashi fast, right? So it took them 1 year. They were also fasting at the time. So he had not taken the food. And finally, then after Durvasa, then Durvasa leaves, all that, right? And Ambarisha continues to be devoted to the Lord. And finally, Dridam Ratobhut, his devotion towards the Lord went up even more. And finally, Sayujyam, finally he attained the union with the Lord himself. So Raja Pratikshya Munim Eka Samam Anashwan. If you want to break it, you can break it into 3 if you want. Munim Eka Samam Anashwan. But it may be easier to say it together. Munim Eka Samam Anashwan, comma. Sambhojya Sadhu Tam Rishim Visrujan Prasannam Bhuktva Swayam Tvayi Tatopi Dridham Rato Bhut. Put the it at the end of that line, comma. Rato Bhut. Next time, if you have a it in the next line beginning, you can cut it off. Sayujyamapa cha samam pavanesha payaha. Raja pratīkṣya munimeka samamanāśvān sambhojya sadhutam vrisham visrujan prasannam bhuktva swayam tvayi tatopi dridham rato bhūte sayujyamapa cha samam pavanesha payaha.
राजा प्रतीक्ष्य मुनिमेकसमामनाश्वान् सम्भोज्य साधु समृषिं विसृजन् प्रसन्नं भुक्त्वा स्वयं त्वयि ततोऽपि दृढं रथोऽभूत् सायुज्यमाप स च मां पवनेशपायाः राजा प्रतीक्ष्य मुनिमेकसमामनाश्वान् सम्भोज्य साधु तं ऋषिं विसृजन् प्रसन्नं भुक्त्वा स्वयं त्वयि ततोऽपि दृढं रथोऽभूत् सायुज्यमाप स च मां पवनेशपायाः
राजा प्रतीक्ष्य मुनिमेघसमामनाश्वान् सम्भोज्य साधु तं ऋषिं विसृजन् प्रसन्नं भुक्त्वा स्वयं त्वयि ततोऽपि दृढं रथोऽभूत् सायुज्यमाप चषमां भवनेशभायाः राजा प्रतीक्ष मुनिमेघसमामनाश्वान् सम्भोज्य साधुतमृषं विसृजन् प्रसन्नं भुक्त्वा स्वयं त्वयि ततोऽपि दृढं रथोऽभूत् सायुज्यमाप चषमां भवनेशभायाः.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Then 33. So 34 and 35, very beautiful dashakams. Little hard, little on the harder side. When after this, after 30, 34, 35, 36 are hard. And after that, for a long period, up to 74, 75, it's all small dashakams, right? So this one is, a lot of people love chanting this because it's Rama Avataram, right? So like, naturally it has got its power in it when you chant it. So the challenge with this is the entire Rama Avataram has been condensed into 2 dashakams, right? So I'm not going to go deep into the meaning because a lot of you know Ramayanam very well. And in the Bhattari part covers like years worth of stuff in one stanza, right? So I can't go and tell this everything that is happening there. I'll just tell what he's telling in that stanza. I'll just restrict the meaning just to that portion of it, right? So stanza 1. गीर्वाणैरर्त्यमानो दशमुखनिधनं कोसले स्पृश्य शृङ्गे पुत्रीयामिष्टिमेष्ट्वा ददुषि दशरथक्ष्माभृते पायसाघ्र्यं तद्भुक्त्या तत्पुरन्ध्रीष्वपि तिसृषु समं जातगर्भासु जातो रामस्त्वं लक्ष्मणेन स्वयमत भरतेनापि शत्रुघ्ननाम्ना. So it talks that in the beginning, because they went and approached Narayana saying we need protection from this Ravana, right? Who is the primary person who I have to get. Because if you remember the Jaya Vijaya story, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu were the first one. Then Ravana, Kumbhakarna, right? So they are the next ones of Jaya Vijaya who were creating a lot of atrocities. So they needed the Lord to come back and give them the liberation for the second time. And then eventually when Krishna Avataram comes, we'll see Shishupala and Dantavaktra happening, right? So here, because they went and prayed, so at that time in the kingdom of Kosala, there was a king called Dasharatha. So the sage Rishya Shringa, he then performed the Putra Kameshti Yajnam for Dasharatha, right? Because Dasharatha did not have children. So the Putra Kameshti Yajnam, when he actually performed, then whatever prasadam came out of that, whatever offering came out of that homam, he gave it to his wife, and then all of them became pregnant at the same time. And then it says, you yourself, O Lord, were born as Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna, right? So Rama is incarnation of the Lord, the Purna Avataram of the Lord. Lakshmana is the incarnation of Adishesha. Bharata, Shatrughna is incarnation of Sudarshana Chakra, and Bharata is incarnation of the Panchajanya, the conch. So because anytime the Lord comes, he brings his own team along with him, right, for the incarnation, right? So that's what, so you yourself, Swayamata, you yourself were born as each of these 4 children to Dasharatha. So Girvanair Artyamano, you can break it that ra if you want. Girvanair Artyamano, Dashamukha Nidhanam, comma, Kosalesh Brishya Shringe, comma, Putriyam Ishtim Ishtva, you can break the ma, Putriyam Ishtim Ishtva, comma, Dadushi Dasharatha Kshmabhrite. So it's a ha ksha. Kshmabhrite Payasagryam. Girvanirartyamano Dashamukha Nidhanam Kosalesh Vrishya Shringe Putriyamishtimeštva Dadushi Dasharatha Kshmabhrite Payasagryam. Continue, Maithili.
Is it still my turn? Okay. Girvanair Artyamano Dashamukhanidham Kosalesh Prishya Shringe Putriyamishtimishtva Dadushi Dasharatha Kshmabhrite Payasagyam Girvanair Girvanairtyamano Dashamukhanidham Kosalesh Prishya Shringe Putriyamishtimishtva Dadushi Dasharatha Kshma Prite Payasagyam.
That first line, Dashamukha Nidhanam.
Dashamukha Nidhanam.
Yeah.
कीर्वाणैरर्ध्यमानो दशमुखनिधनं कोशलेष्वृष्यशृङ्गे पुत्र्याम् इष्टिमिष्ट्वा ददुषि दशरथ क्ष्माप्रुदे पायसाग्र्यम् कीर्वाणैरर्ध्यमानो दशमुखनिधनं कोशलेष्वृष्यशृङ्गे पुत्र्यामिष्टिष्ट्वा ददुषि दशरथ क्ष्माप्रुदे पायसाग्र्यम्.
Tat bhuktya tat purandhrishvapi. So dhra sound, dhrishvapi, comma. Tisrushu samam jata garbhasu jato, comma. Ramastvam lakshmanena, comma. Swayamatha bharatenapi shatrugna namna. Tadbhuktya tatpurandhrishvapi tisrushu samam jata garbhasu jato ramastvam lakshmanena swayamata bharatenapi shatrugna namna.
Tadbhuktya tatpuradhishvapi tishrushu samam jata garbhasu jato ramastvam lakshmanena swayamatha bharatenapi shatrugna namna. Tadbhuktya tatpurandhishvapi tisrushu samam jata garbhasu jato ramastvam lakshmanena swayamatha bharatenapi shatrugna namna.
तद्भुक्त्या तत्पुरन्ध्रीष्वपि तिसृषु समं जातगर्भासु जातो रामस्त्वं लक्ष्मणेन स्वयमत भरतेनापि शत्रुघ्ननाम्ना. तद्भुक्त्या तत्पुरन्ध्रीष्वपि तिसृषु समं जातगर्भासु जातो रामस्त्वं लक्ष्मणेन स्वयमत भरतेनापि शत्रुघ्ननाम्ना.
Stanza 2. Kodandhi kaushikasya kratuvaramavitum lakshmanenanuyato yato bhustata vacha munikatitamanudvandva shantadvakedah nृणां त्राणाय बाणैः मुनिवचनबला ताटकां पाटयित्वा लब्ध्वा स्मादस्त्रजालं मुनिवनमगमो देवसिद्धाश्रमाख्यम्. So while when Rama was in his very young age, very in a youth age itself, at the time, Vishwamitra comes and then tells Dasharatha that, I need to borrow your children for a few days or a few months or whatever, saying, there's a lot of these people who are causing havoc in my ashram. I'm not able to perform yajna and everything. So you, O Rama, you went along with Lakshmana and along with your Kodandi, you carried your bow also along, and then you went there to help Vishwamitra complete a lot of sacrifices that was going on. And because they had to constantly be there for protection for Vishwamitra, Vishwamitra then taught two of them a mantra called as Bala and Atibala. Two mantras which were imparted by Vishwamitra, by which Rama and Lakshmana never felt tired or thirsty or anything or fatigued, and they could constantly be there for protection of Vishwamitra and all the other sages. So with that, you then got rid of a lot of the asuras. You also got rid of a lady called Tataka. This Tataka's influence is going to come later because she's the mother of Maricha, who comes as a deer later, right? So you get rid of Tataka and other asuras and everybody else. And finally, once all of them we were taken care of, you then come back to Vishwamitra's ashramam in Siddhashram. Siddhashrama, that's the name of the ashram of Vishwamitra, where you finally come back. And then Vishwamitra is continuing to do all his yajnas. So, Kodandi Kaushikasya Kratuvaram abitum, Lakshmane nanu yato, yato bhus tata vacha, Muni Katita Manu Dvandva Shantadva Khedaha. Easy to break that. Kodandi Kaushikasya Kratuvaramavitum Lakshmanenanuyato Yato Bhustata Vacha Muni Katita Manu Dvandva Shantadva Khedaha.
कोदण्डी कौशिकस्य क्रतुवरमवितुं लक्ष्मणेनानुयातो यातो भूस्तातवाचा मुनिकथित मनुद्वन्द्व शान्ताद्वखेदः कोदण्डी कौशिकस्य क्रतुवरमवितुं लक्ष्मणेनानुयातो यातो भूस्तात वाचा मुनिकथित मनुद्वन्द्वशान्ताद्वखेदः
कोदण्डी कौशिकस्य कृतवरमवितुं लक्ष्मणेनानुयातो यादो भूस्तातवाचा मुनिकथितमनु द्वन्द्व शान्तात्वकेतः कोदण्डी कौशिकस्य कृतवरमवितुं लक्ष्मणेनानुयातो यादो भूस्तातवाचा मुनिकथितमनु द्वन्द्व शान्तात्वकेतः
Nrinam Tranaya Banaihi. So put a visarga and comma there. Banaihi. On top of that Muni, there will be an ir that goes away. Muni Bachana Balat Tatakam Patayitva, comma. Labdvasmad Astrajalam. If you want to break it, that da Labdvasmad Astrajalam, comma. Muni Vanamagamo Deva Siddhashram Akyam. And break it that ma if you want. Siddhashram Akyam. Nrinham Tranaya Banaihi Munivachana Bala Tatakam Patayitva Labdvasmadastrajalam Munivanamagamo Deva Siddhashramakyam.
नृणां त्राणाय बाणैः मुनिवचन बलाताटकां पाटयित्वा लब्ध्वास्मादस्त्रजालं मुनिवनमगमे देवसिद्ध्याश्रमाख्यम्
Last line. Muni Vanamagamo.
मुनिवनमगमो देवसिद्धाश्रमाख्यम् sorry नृणां त्राणाय बाणैः मुनिवचनबलाताटकां पाटयित्वा लब्ध्वास्माद्रस्त्रजालं मुनिवनमगमो देवसिद्धाश्रमाख्यम्
Is it Magamo or Magano?
Magamo.
No, okay.
Rajeshji, so would you go as Muni Vana and Gamano or Muni Vanaka and Mano?
No, it is, you can do it two ways. If you want to break it, it is Muni Vanam Agamo. Okay, if you want to break
Okay.
it. Or you
Thank
can say
you.
it together, Muni Vanam Agamo in one word.
Thank you.
Rajeshri, other Baner Munivachana Balat Tatakam. Tatakam.
But on the ir on top of that Muni, we are taking a break there. So it becomes a visarga. So Nunam Tranaya Banaihi. That ir becomes a visarga there. Then Muni
Munivachana Balat.
Balat Tatakam. So it and the ta.
Balat Tatakam. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are two tasanga.
Yeah, that's right. The first it goes towards that Balat.
Yes.
And then Tatakam is the full ta.
Okay, thank you.
Nrinam Tranaya Banaihi. கொஞ்சம் டியூன் மறந்து போயிடுது.
Nrinam Tranaya Banaihi.
Nrinam Tranaya Banaihi Munivachana Balat Tatakam Padayitva Labdvasmat Astrajalam Munivana Gamamo देवसिद्धाश्रमाख्यं नृणां त्राणाय बाणैः मुनिवचनबलात् ताटकां पाडयित्वा लब्ध्वास्मात् अस्त्रजालं मुनिवनगममो देवसिद्धाश्रमाख्यम्.
And the last line, and the Muni Banamagamo.
முனிவன முனிவன முனி முனிவனதான முனிவகவா
இல்ல Muni, 3 words there. Muni,
வன
Vanam,
Okay.
Agamo.
முனிவன 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 அகமோ
Vanam. Just use the word in there. Muni Banam Agamo.
முனிவனம் அகமோ
Yeah.
தேவசித்தாசிரமம். Okay.
Yeah, those are the 3 words.
Rajesh, the last word,
Hmm.
Siddhashramakhyam. It's a long kyam, not the short, right?
ஆக்கியம் தான் இருக்கு.
Akhyam only.
Okay.
Just Akhyam, not Akhyam. Just Akhyam only.
Thank you.
All right, we'll switch here. Retiji, you can be student, and Bhuvana, you can be student. Stanza 3. Maricham dravayitva makashirasi sharaihi anyarakshamsi nignanhe kalyam kurvanna halyam pati padarajasa prapya vaideha geham bindhanaschandra chudam dhanuh avanisutam indirameva labdhva rajyam pratishthatastvam tribirapi cha samam bhatruvirai sadharaihi. Again, like we said, a lot of things get condensed here, right? So first, when they're taking in the Siddhashrama, when they're taking care of Vishwamitra and all the other priests who are doing the sacrifices, first then initially Thataka, he got rid of, but Maricha comes now first again. But this time, nothing happens. He just chases Maricha away, which is why he ends up coming back later again. So he chases Maricha away. And then in a lot of other asuras who are there, you know, get rid of everybody so that the sacrifices can happen properly and all of that. Then you go purify Ahalya, right? There's another huge story behind the scenes of Ahalya itself. So you purify Ahalya because of the dust of your feet. You're able to purify Ahalya who's been waiting for your purification, right? So that happens. And then finally, you, along with your brothers and Vishwamitra's instructions, you then go to Videha. Videha is a region where Vaidehi is there. So Sita is there. There you go. You then, the bow ceremony is there. The Swayamvaram is happening. And then you are able to go and break the bow, the Lord Shiva's bow, and then, you know, string it and break it as well. And with that, you marry Janaki. And then with all of you, along with your brothers, come back to Ayodhya. Because they had left home to Vishwamitra. They did all this. Then finally they get married. And then they finally return back to Ayodhya. So Maricham dhavayitva makha shirasi sharaihi. So the ra that is there after sharai, you remove it, put a visarga comma, sharaihi, comma. Next word starts with the a. Anya rakshamsi nignan, comma. Kalyam kurvanna halyam, double na. It's kurvan ahalyam, but it becomes double na there. So kurvanna halyam, comma. Pati padarajasa, comma, prapya vaideha geham. Maricham dravayitva makashirasi sharaihi anya rakshamsi nignanhe kalyam kurvanna halyam pati padarajasa prapya vaideha geham.
Maricham dravitva makasirasi saraihi anyarakshamsi nignanna kalyam kurvanna halyam pathipadarajasa prapya vaideha geham. Maricham dravitva makasirasi saraihi anyarakshamsi nignan kalyam kurvanna halyam pathipadarajasa prapya vaideha geham.
Maricham dravayitva makashirasi sharaihi anyarakshamsi nignanna kalyam kurvanna halyam pathipadarajasa prapya vaideha geham. Maricham dravayitva makashirasi sharaihi anyarakshamsi nignanna कल्यां कुर्वन्नहल्यां पथिपदरजसा प्राप्य वैदेहगेहम्.
Rajesh, Rajesh, the second word, Dravayitva or Dravayitva?
Dravayitva.
Dra-
Dravayitva.
My book says Dravayitva.
Okay. Dravayitva. Bhindanash Chandrachudam Dhanuhu. So again the same, the ra that is there, you remove it, put a visarga, comma, Dhanuhu, comma. Next word starts with the A. Avani Sutham Indirameva Labdva, comma, Rajyam Pratishtatastvam, comma, Tribirapi Cha Samam Bhratruvirais Sadaraihi. Bhindanaschandrachudam dhanuhu avanisutam indiramev labdva rajyam pratishthatastvam tribirapi cha samam bhratruvirai sadaraihi.
Hindanachchandrachudam dhanuhu avanisutam indirameva labdhva rajyam pratishtatastvam tribhirapi cha samam bhratruvirai sadaraihi. Hindanachchandrachudam dhanuhu avanisutam indirameva labdhva rajyam pratishtatastvam tribhirapi cha samam bhratruvirai sadaraihi.
विन्दानश्चान्द्रचूडं धनुः अवनिसुतामिन्दिरामेव लब्ध्वा राज्यं प्रातिष्ठतास्त्वं त्रिभिरपि च समं भ्रातृवीरैः सदारैः. भिन्दानश्चान्द्रचूडं धनुः अवनिसुतामिन्दिरामेव लब्ध्वा राज्यं प्रातिष्ठतास्त्वं त्रिभिरपि च समं भ्रातृवीरैः सदारैः.
That's a four. Arundhane Rushanthe Bhrugukulatилake Sankramaya Swatejo Yate Yatosya Yodhyam Sukamiha Nivasan Kantaya Kantamurte Shatrughne Naikadhato Gatavati Bharate Matulasya Adhivasam Tata Rabdho Bishekaha Tabakila Vihatah Kekaya Disha Putrya. So because Rama strung the bow and broke that bow, which was originally given to Janaka by Lord Shiva himself, on the way back, Rama meets Parashurama. And we'll talk more about this Parashurama, why, what happens in the next Dasakam, 36, when we talk about Parashurama Avataram. But Rama meets Parashurama. So because Parashurama then gives another bow to Rama to challenge Rama to break that bow or to string that bow, which Rama is able to do. So with that, Parashurama then comes to the realization, and I don't want to get too much into Parashurama's story here as to what was happening, but he comes to the realization that the other avataram of Narayana has happened, which is a more full avataram. So he transfers all his powers over to Rama, and then Parashurama goes away. Right, and we'll see why that is, all that in 36 when we talk about it. So anyway, so with that, you then come back to Ayodhya, and then Sukamiha Nivasan, and you're living with Sita very happily in Ayodhya. So then comes a time where Bharata along with Shatrughna had to go to their uncle's kingdom, Kaikeyi's brother's kingdom. They end up going for some reason. So at that time, Dasharatha then plans the coronation of Rama, announcing the coronation of Rama. So at that time is where Kekaya Disha Putriya, the daughter of the king of Kekaya, which is Kaikeyi, then obstructs to your coronation at that time. So Arundhane Rushanthe, comma, Bhrigukula Tilake. Bhrigukula Tilake is opposed to Parashurama here, comma. Sankramaya Swatejo, comma. Yate Yatosya Yodhyam, comma. Sukhamiha Nibasan. Pause again, comma. Kantaya Kantamurte. Arundhane Rushanthe Bhrigukulatilake Sankramaya Swatejo Yate Yatosya Yodhyam Sukamiha Nivasan Kantaya Kantamurte.
आरुन्थाने रुषान्थे भृगुकुलतिलके संक्रयम्य स्वतेजो याते यातोऽस्य योध्यां सुखमिह निवसन् कान्तया कान्तमूर्ते.
In that I think one of the words you said Sankramaya, I think, oh no, I think one, okay, repeat again, I'll tell you. I think one word you said different.
आरुन्थाने रुषान्थे भृगुकुलतिलके संक्रयम्य
That one.
स्वतेजो.
Sankramaya.
Okay, thank you. संक्रमय्य स्वतेजो याते यातोऽस्य योध्यां सुखमिह निवसन् कान्तया कान्तमूर्ते.
आरुन्धाने रुषान्धे भृगुकुलतिलके सङ्क्रमय्यस्वतेजो याते यातोऽस्य योध्यां सुखमिह निवसन् कान्तया कान्तमूर्ते आरुन्धाने रुषान्धे भृगुकुलतिलके सङ्क्रमय्यस्वतेजो याते यातोऽस्य योध्यां सुखमिह निवसन् कान्तया कान्तमूर्ते.
Shatrughne naika dato, comma, gatavati bharate, comma, matulasyadhivasam, comma, thata rabdhobi shekaha, abhishekaha, that S symbol is coming, so you can say it together. Tata rabdhobi shekaha. So that is that is there, remove it, put a visarga, comma. Tava kila vihataha, is there, put a ih sound, vihatah. केकयाधीश पुत्र्या शत्रुघ्नेनैकदाथो गतवति भरते मातुलस्याधिवासं तातारब्धोऽभिषेकः तव किल विहतः केकयाधीश पुत्र्या.
शत्रुघ्नेनैकदाथो गतवति भरते मातुलस्याधिवासं तातारब्धोऽभिषेकः तव किल विहतः केकयाधीशपुत्र्याम्. शत्रुघ्नेनैकदाथो गतवति भरते मातुलस्याधिवासं तातारब्धोऽभिषेकः तव किल विहतः केकयाधीशपुत्र्याम्.
शत्रुघ्नेनैकदाथो गतवति भरते मातुलस्याधिवासं तातारब्धोऽभिषेकः तव किल विहतः केकयाधीशपुत्र्या. शत्रुघ्नेनैकदाथो गतवति भरते मातुलस्याधिवासं तातारब्धोऽभिषेकः तव किल विहतः केकयाधीशपुत्र्या.
That's all right. तातोक्त्या यातु कामो वनम् अनुजवधू संयुतश्चापधारः पौरानारुध्य मार्गे गुहनिलयगतः त्वं जटाचीरधारी नाभासन्तीर्य गङ्गाम् अधिपदविपुनस्तं भरद्वाजमारात् नत्वा तद्वाक्यहेतोः अतिसुखमवसश्चित्रकूटे गिरीन्द्रे. So, like a lot of things happen, right? So that you all know the story. So Dasharatha then, says that Kaikeyi asks for the boon, and Rama says, that's fine, I'll abandon my kingdom. And then with that, he has to go to the forest. So Rama decides to leave. Along with him, Lakshmana, also Anuja, is referring to the younger brother. Your younger brother Lakshmana also joins you. The Vadu, the one who you married, Sita, also joins you. So all of you, along with just Rama's bow, you all leave the kingdom and then go towards the forest. So of course, the citizens of Ayodhya don't want Rama to leave, so they all follow Rama, right? However, once you reach a particular point, Rama then sends them back saying, I don't want any of you to follow. And then he then goes and stays in the residence of Guha, right? Who's the boatman. So that's why it says Guha Nilaya Gataha. You go stay in Guha's house. And the next day you then go cross over the Ganges, right? With Guha that moves you over. And then you go to, first you go to the sage Bharadwaja who lives nearby. And then on the sage then instructs Rama that he has to go to Chitrakuta. He says that's the best place for you to go and then spend the rest of your time in the forest. So you then go to Rama, you go to Chitrakuta, and then you go spend the rest of the time there. Tatoktya yatu kamo vanam. So the ma that is there, you break it, vanam, comma. Next word starts with the a. Anuja vadhu samyutash chapa dharaha, comma. Paura narudhya marge, comma. Guha nilaya gataha. So that is that is there, put a visarga, comma. Guha nilaya gataha. Tvam jatachira dhari. So at that point, you then transfer over into this clothes where you're just having this matted hair and then wearing the bark, which is clothes made up of the wood, right? What the regular people who live in forest wear. You change over into those clothes at the time. So jatachira dhari. Tatoktya yatu kamo vanam anujabadhu samyutaschapdharaha pauranaruddya marge guhanilaya gatah tvam jatachira-dhari.
तातोक्त्या यातु कामो वनम् अनुजवथो संयुतश्चापथारः पौरानारुध्य मार्गे गुहनिलयगतः त्वं जटाचिरधारी तातोक्त्या यातु कामो वनम् अनुजवथो संयुतश्चापथारः पौरानारुध्य मार्गे गुहनिलयगतः त्वं जटाचिरधारी
तातोक्त्या यातु कामो वनम् अनुजवधू संयुतश्चापधारः पौरानारुध्य मार्गे गुहनिलयगतः त्वं जटाचीरधारी तातोक्त्या यातु कामो वनम् अनुजवधू संयुतश्चापधारः पौरानारुध्य मार्गे गुहनिलयगतः त्वं जटाचीरधारी.
Nava santirya gangam, that ma you break it, put a im, comma, gangam. Adhi padavi punas tam bharadvaja marat, put a it at the end of that line and comma. Bharadvaja marat, comma. Next you will have two nas, one of the na will go away. Natva tadvakya hetoho. So the ra that is there, remove it, visarga, comma. Tadvakya hetoho, comma. Next word will start with the a. Athi sukhama vasash chitrakute girindre. Nava santirya gangham adipadavi punastam bharadvaja marate natva tadvakya hetoho ati sukhama vasash chitrakute girindre.
नावासन्तीर्य गङ्गाम् अथिपदविपुनस्तं भरद्वाजमारात नत्वा तद्वाक्यहेतोः अतिसुखमवसश्चित्रकूटे गिरीन्द्रे नावासन्तीर्य गङ्गाम् अथिपदविपुनस्तं भरद्वाजमारात नत्वा तद्वाक्यहेतोः अतिसुखमवसश्चित्रकूटे गिरीन्द्रे.
Quick question, Rajeshi. It's Marath, right? Like
Yeah, it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
नावासन्तीर्य गङ्गाम् अधिपदविपुनस्तं भरद्वाजमारात् नत्वा तद्वाक्यहेतोः अतिसुखमवसश्चित्रकूटे गिरीन्द्रे नावासन्तीर्य गङ्गाम् अधिपदविपुनस्तं भरद्वाजमारात् नत्वा तद्वाक्यहेतोः अतिसुखमवसश्चित्रकूटे गिरीन्द्रे.
Stanza 6. Shrutva putrarti khinnam khalo bharatamukat swargayatam swatatam tapto dadvambo tasmai niradita bharate padukam medinim cha atrim natva tagatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam hatva daityam viradham sugati makhalayas charubho sharabhangim. So then, when Dasharatha realizes that Rama left everything and he has gone to the forest, then, at some point, he gets so overwhelmed with grief that, Dasharatha passes away. That's when Bharata is already back at that time, and Bharata then ends up tracing Rama and finding Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita. And Bharata comes and says, if the Dasharatha passed away, you please come back. So Rama says no. That's when he gives Padukam. So he says, Bharata says, I'll take your sandals and go place it on the throne. And Rama then does Tarpanam to his father because his father passed away. So he doesn't come back, but he does Tarpanam wherever, he is. So then he continues the journey. Then he sees, first he saw sage Bharadwaja. Then he sees Atri. He then goes into the forest of Dandaka. So in Dandaka, he then kills a demon called as Biradha. So that's another demon who he kills. And then finally, he gives salvation to sage Sarabhanga. So Sarabhanga was another famous rishi who was so great that Indra actually came and told Sarabhanga that I'll take you with me to the heavens. So Sarabhanga said, not yet, because Rama is on his way. He's going to be coming here in some time in the future. So I want to see Lord Rama, and only then I will want to give up my body. So Rama comes, finally Sarabhanga sees Lord Rama, and then finally he gives up his body. So he gives salvation to Sarabhanga. Shrutva putrarthi khinnam khalu, Bharata mukhat swargayatam swatatam, tapto dadvambu tasmai, nidhadhita bharate padukam medinim cha. Shrutva putrarti khinnam khalu Bharata mukhat swargayatam swatatam, tapto dadvambu tasmai nidadhita bharate padukam medinim cha.
Srutva putrartikhinnam khalu bharatamukhat swargayatam swatatam, tapto dattvaambutasmai nidathita bharate padukam medinincha. Medinincha.
Cha. Medinim cha.
Srutva putrartikhinnam khalu bharatamukhat swargayatam swatatam, tapto dattvaambutasmai nidathita bharate padukam medinincha.
Shrutva putrarthikhinnam khalu bharatamukhat swargayatam swatatam, tapto dattvaambutasmai nidadhita bharate padukam medinim cha. Shrutva putrarthikhinnam khalu bharatamukhat swargayatam swatatam, tapto dattvaambutasmai nidadhita bharate padukam medinim cha.
Atrim natvata gatva, vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam, hatva daityam viradham, sugatim akhalayash. You can break it that ma if you want. Sugatim akhalayash charu bhoho, put a ish, charu bhosh sharabhangin. Atrim natvata gatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam, hatva daityam viradham, sugatim akhalayash charu bhosh sharabhangin.
Atrim natvata gatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam, hatva daityam viradham, sugati makalayas charu phos sarabhangim. Atrim natvata gatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam, hatva daityam viradham, sugati makalayas charu phos sarabhangim.
Atrim natvata gatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam, hatva daityam viradham, sugati makalayas charu bhosh sharabhangim. Atrim natvata gatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam, hatva daityam viradham, sugati makalayas charu bhosh sharabhangim.
Answer 7. नत्वागस्त्यं समस्ताशरनिकरसपत्राकृतिं तापसेभ्यः प्रत्यश्रौषिः प्रियैषी तदनु च मुनिना वैष्णवे दिव्यचापे ब्रह्मास्त्रे चापि दत्ते पितृसुहृदं वीक्ष्य भूयो जटायुं मोदाद् गोधातटान्ते परिरमसि पुरा पञ्चवट्यां वधूट्या. So first he met Bharadwaja, then Atri, then you then meet sage Agastya. So, the sage Agastya then tells Rama that, there's a lot of these atrocities which are happening. So you have to kind of get rid of all of these, lot of asuras who are there. So Rama promises Agastya that he will do all that. So Agastya then gives Rama the Vaishnava bow and also Brahmastram. He teaches how he can then send the Brahmastram, which is what he uses later, right? So the Brahmastram, all of that he gets from sage Agastya. And then finally, you also meet your father's friend Jatayu. So they meet Jatayu once, he meets once later also. But even before that, you also meet Jatayu once. And then finally, you then come to the bank of river Godavari. And then in Panchavati, you then set up your camp, right? That's where you decide to stay. Natva Gastyam, Samastashara Nikara Sapa Trakritim Tapasebhyah, Pratyashraushih, put a F, Pratyashraushih Priyaishi, Tadanu cha Munina Vaishnave Divya Chape. Natva Samasta Sharat Nikara Sapatrakritim Tapasebhyah Pratyashraushih Priyaishi Tadanu cha Munina Vaishnave Divya Chape.
नत्वागस्त्यं समस्ताशरनिकरसपत्राकृतिं तापसेभ्यः प्रत्यौस्रौषिः प्रियैषी तदनु च मुनिना वैष्णवे दिव्यचापे नत्वागस्त्यं समस्ताशरनिकरसपत्राकृतिं तापसेभ्यः प्रत्यौस्रौषिः प्रियैषी तदनु च मुनिना वैष्णवे दिव्यचापे
नत्वागस्त्यं समस्ताशरनिकरसपत्राकृतिं तापसेभ्यः प्रत्यस्रौषिः प्रियैषी तदनु च मुनिना वैष्णवे दिव्यचापे नत्वागस्त्यं समस्ताशरनिकरसपत्राकृतिं तापसेभ्यः प्रत्यस्रौषिः प्रियैषी तदनु च मुनिना वैष्णवे दिव्यचापे
Brahmastre chapi datte, Pati pitru suhridam vikshya bhuyo jatayum, modat goda tatante, pari ramasi pura, panchavatyam vadhutya. Brahmastre chapi datte pati pitru suhridam vikshya bhuyo jatayum मोदात् गोदातटान्ते परिरमसि पुरा पञ्चवट्यां वधूट्या.
ब्रह्मास्त्रे चापि दत्ते पथि पितृसुहृदं वीक्ष्य भूयो जटायुं मोदात् गोदात् तटान्ते परिरमसि पुरा पञ्चवट्यां वधूट्या. ब्रह्मास्त्रे चापि दत्ते पथि पितृसुहृदं वीक्ष्य भूयो जटायुं मोदात् गोदात् तटान्ते परिरमसि पुरा पञ्चवट्यां वधूट्या.
ब्रह्मास्त्रे चापि दत्ते पथि पितृसुहृदं वीक्ष्य भूयो जटायुं मोदात् गोदातटान्ते परिरमसि पुरा पञ्चवट्यां वधूट्या. ब्रह्मास्त्रे चापि दत्ते पथि पितृसुहृदं वीक्ष्य भूयो जटायुं मोदात् गोदातटान्ते परिरमसि पुरा पञ्चवट्यां वधूट्या.
Only do one more and stop stanza 8. Praptahya shurpanakhyah madana chaladriterattanaiर्निस्सहात्मा तां सौमित्रो विसृज्य प्रबलतमरुषा तेन निर्लूननासां दृष्ट्वैनामृष्टचित्तं खरमभिपतितं दूषणं शत्रुमूर्धं व्याहिंसीराशरानप्ययुत समधिकान् तत्क्षणात् अक्षतोष्मा. That's when they're living in Panchavati. So that's when Shurpanaka comes one day and then approaches Rama to get married, because she sees Sita, she sees so beautiful, so she also wants to get married to Rama. Then Rama says no. She goes to Lakshmana. Lakshmana then cuts her nose off. So with that, then when Shurpanaka goes back, then her brothers Kar and Dhushana, two of them, along with another person called as Trishara, all three of them then come to attack Rama and Lakshmana, who they then get rid of. And along with that, Ayudha Samadhikan, over a period of time, Rama, you got rid of more than 10,000 evil asuras and demons who were there harassing all these sages. You were able to get rid of all of them, and then you continue to live there, in Panchavati at that time. So Praptayaha, put the ish, Praptayash, Shurpanakyaha. So you're going to add a visarga and put a comma, because we're going to pause there. Shurpanakyaha, comma, Madana Chala Driter Artanair Nissaha. If you want to break that Ra, it will be easier. So Driter Artanair Nissahatma, comma, Tam Saumitro Visrujya, comma, Prabalathama Rusha Tena Nirluna Nasam. Praptaya Shurpanakyaha Madana Chaladhriter Artanair Nissahatma Tam Saumitro Visrujya Prabalathama Tena Nirluna Nasam.
प्राप्ताया शूर्पणख्याः मदनचलधृतेरर्थनैर्निस्सहात्मा तां सौमित्रौ विसृज्य प्रबलतमरुषा तेन निर्लूननासाम्. प्राप्ताया शूर्पणख्याः मदनचलधृतेरर्थनैर्निस्सहात्मा तां सौमित्रौ विसृज्य प्रबलतमरुषा तेन निर्लूननासाम्.
प्राप्ताया शूर्पणख्याः मदनचलधृतैरर्धनैर्निस्सहात्मा तां सौमित्रौ विसृज्य प्रबलतमरुषा तेन निर्लोलनासाम्. प्राप्ताया शूर्पणख्याः मदनचलधृतैरर्धनैर्निस्सहात्मा तां सौमित्रौ विसृज्य प्रबलतमरुषा तेन निर्लोलनासाम्.
Drishtvainam Rushta Chittam, comma, Karam Abhipatitam Dushanam Cha Trimurdham, comma. So the next line is going to be very difficult to break it. So you have to pretty much say it together. Vyahim Sira Sharanapyayutha Samadhikan. The is that you see after Samadhikas, that is goes away, you put a in and then put a comma. So Vyahim Sira Sharanapyayutha Samadhikan, in, comma, Tat Kshanat Akshatoshma. Drishtvainham Rushtachitam Karamabhipatitam Dushanam Chatrimurdham Vyahim Sirasharanapyayuta Samadhikan Tatkshanat Akshatoshma.
Ajay, 1 second. There is a sa ange, right? Sa
Yes,
and tat.
Yeah,
The last line.
Yeah, that is there. That is will go away when you stop there. It's a in there. So Samadhikan. Okay. But when you say it together, that in becomes a is. That's just a Sandhi rule. That's all.
Oh.
So because we are stopping there, we're putting a comma there, that is becomes a in.
So there is no sang.
No, I mean, you will have a sa because it's written continuously, but because we are stopping there, that is becomes a in. Okay.
Khan.
Samadhikan, in. Yeah.
That. Okay. Thank you.
दृष्ट्वैनां दृष्टचित्तं खरमभिपतितं दूषणं च त्रिमूर्धं व्याहिंसीराशरानप्ययुत प्ययुत समधिकाम् तत्क्षणात् अक्षतोष्मा दृष्ट्वैनाम् रुष्टचित्तं खरमभिपतितं दूषणं च त्रिमूर्धं व्याहिंसीराशरानप्ययुत समधिकान् तत्क्षणात् अक्षतोक्ष्मा
சம்மதி காமன் இருக்கு என் புக்ல அது ஓகேவா
In
இல்ல அதை
Samadhi
இன்னுன்னு
Khan.
மாத்தணும்
In Samadhi Khan.
அதான் அந்த இம்மை இன்னுன்னு மாத்தணுமா
Mama, you have to put it is the in there. It's not a im there. In.
दृष्ट्वैनामृष्टचित्तं करमभिपतितं दूषणं च त्रिमूर्धं व्याहिंसीराशराणाप्ययुतसमधिकान् दक्षतोष्मा दृष्ट्वैनामृष्टचित्तं करमभिपतितं दूषणं च त्रिमूर्धं व्याहिंसीराशरानाप्ययुतसमधिकान् तत्क्षणादक्षतोष्मा
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. In the class here.
Rajesh ji,
Yeah.
the last line, Dakshanat Akshatoshma or Dakshanat Takshatoshma?
Tat. It. Ta sound. Tat.
So,
Kshanat. Aksha. If you want to break it, you break at the da. Tat. Kshanat. Akshatoshma.
Akshatoshma. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
if you
you.
want to break it, yeah. So we have, but so this Dasakam has 2 more and next Dasakam has 10. So we'll finish this 34, 35 next class. Sandhranandhavabodhatpakamanupamitam kaladeshavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurusharthatmakam brahmatattvam tattavadbhati sakshat gurupavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you,
weekend.
Rajesh. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh ji.
Bye
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.